In our first story, the chairman of the National Peace Council has bemoaned cultural practices that cause destruction to the country's natural resources. The Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante argues beliefs and norms cannot be tools against God as ultimate creator of cultures. He's calling for a critical review of all cultural practices and expressions that negatively impact on the environment. He was speaking at a public lecture in Kumasi on the role of the church in curbing galamsey, organized by the Ghana Baptist University College.
Must not be used as a tool against God, the ultimate creator of cultures. I have always said, you as a Christian, you don't need a scientist to come and tell you that be concerned about the earth. Because the first thing that you say is that you believe in God, the creator of heaven and earth. Believing God, the creator, means a commitment to creation to enhance it to the glory and honor of God. But we need to look back and look at the way they are irresponsible mining, the way we are destructing the beauty. I came from Accra today, and I got to Enginem, and as I was passing by that bridge, looking at that river, my heart was bleeding. I have had the opportunity to travel all over the country, every corner as a presiding bishop. Rivers. When I was young, in those days, you were in a train and you were passing by Ofin River, and there was that mystery. What have we done to it? The land. And today there are people who are even selling cocoa farms for pittance. They are selling it to galamseyers for them to destroy what we have. Does that glorify God? That should be the answer. Anything that is worthy of the name culture must bring glory and honor to God. It must advance God's creation mandate. Culture must lead us to God. It follows that any cultural expression that leads away from God, from the biblical and theological perspective, is anti-culture, and therefore very problematic for the Christian.
About 200 students of the Oyoko Community Day School in the Ashanti region are putting up in makeshift structures due to the absence of boarding facilities. School authorities have had to convert part of an uncompleted building into a makeshift dormitory without toilets, bathhouses and even a kitchen, among other challenges. The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah visited the school in the Bosomtwe district and called for suspension of construction works on Community Day Senior High Schools. Ohimin Teria has more in the following report.
Lorry Station Master Peter Free has been lying in this seat for over 3 hours. He can't help it because there are no...
The list talk about lack of water and electricity among concerns of students and teachers. The better. Oyoko Community Day School, one of the facilities built by the previous government, began admissions this year as the free senior high school program commenced. Half of the 493 students are boarders who are compelled to queue up to take their bath in batches, a situation that takes a toll on academic work. Alexander Crunchy echoes the sentiments of his colleagues.
We are facing a big challenge with this bathhouse. We were coming here, we know that it was a boarding, but unfortunately it was a day school. So the staffs put themselves together and make this project for us, which is very difficult, but we are managing it. You will stand out there until those are inside finished, and you can get the chance to move in to bath.
How does it affect your work as a student, academic work?
The time you also get the chance to bath and come back to the dorm, the time has been exhausted.
Acting Headmaster Opoku Pepra explains measures adopted to give students a semblance of relief.
About 70% were people from outside Ashanti region. So if we decided to make it a pure day school, then this school wouldn't have survived. So we met the parents and we decided that we arranged for a place for hostel. Parents agreed, and then we sought assistance from the district assembly. The DC also assisted us, and then we were able to put up a block for the girls. And when we saw that the energy was running out, we decided to use the iron sheets for the girls, for the boys temporary. So here we are. As I'm speaking with you, we have about 80 boys and 130 girls in the hostel. So for the time being, this is where we have for the boys. And then when we get the girls, we're able to grease a block for them as a bathhouse, and also made a temporary toilet for them, whilst we are waiting for the completion of the structure by the contractor, so that we block the toilet for them to use the original toilets.
So as it stands now, is it the best that we can offer students who use this facility?
It is not the best, but what the resources can give us is what we are using now.
Some students want government to assist the school to address the numerous challenges facing the school. Crunchy Alexander is from one science student. He says students have been using unwholesome water to bath.
There are many problems that we are facing, which is lack of potable water. This water is full up of enzymes, bacteria, which is not good for our health. 2, private is not good, it's not well managed. Lack of electricity. We are in as borders. We don't have electricity. We use our lamps, even when someone is in a prep.
Regional Minister Simon Osemensa is surprised students have been posted to uncompleted school. He wants government to suspend all ongoing community day senior high school projects and invest resources in boarding facilities for schools already running.
I'm now going to look at where they cook, because they have to cook for them, both the boarders and then the day students. And looking at where we have the bathroom, I will not be surprised that the kitchen will not be anything to write home about. We have a big problem on our head. I think the government should put on hold further construction of the community day schools, and those that have been completed or partially completed and has enrolled students, the government should provide boarding facilities for them before it continues with the other ones that have been left behind or those that were stalled. Because if the government continues to complete the whole 200 without boarding facilities, there will be total chaos in this country.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Ohimiteria reporting.
The head of the Mother and Baby Unit at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, Dr. Jekwa Plangerul, is advising women to prioritize antenatal care when they are pregnant so as to reduce the incidence of premature birth, which is a leading cause of child mortality. She describes as terrifying trends of babies who are born early. And she was addressing hospital personnel in Kumasi. Nana Sensu-Mensah has more in this report.
Preterm is defined as babies born alive before 37 weeks of pregnancy. Complications from such occurrence are the leading cause of death among children under 5 years. World Health Organization estimates 15 million babies are born too early every year. This translates into more than 1 in 10 babies. Approximately 1 million children die each year due to complications from preterm birth. Even as the ceremony went on, the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital Mother and Baby Unit admitted 115 babies, 30 of them were premature. Dr. Plangerul explains.
Worldwide and in the whole of Ghana, prematurity is a huge problem. Roughly about a third of all the babies who die from complications related to prematurity. So, for example, today, roughly a fifth of the admissions, I think we have about 115 babies, and about 30 of them who are on admission for prematurity, maybe even more, because there are some here, but there are also some on the other ward. So probably a third of the babies who are admitted here come because of prematurity. And if you look at our death rates also, prematurity is a very big contributor to death.
Elizabeth Danso is a mother of a preterm baby. She shares her experiences with other women.
Oh. After
the surgery, I realized the child's breathing wasn't normal. I was downhearted. After 3 days, his breathing was normal, and I realized he will live. If anything should happen to your child, you shouldn't be quick to send him home. They can be taken care of by the nurses here.
Meanwhile, a gynecologist and family planning expert, Dr. Enes Kwakun, stresses strict adherence to Planned Parenthood guidance and counseling.
Sometimes the timing of the pregnancy may result in prematurity. And I'll give just two examples. For instance, when when a mother has delivered, we recommend that the next time the mother should get pregnant after the last delivery should be 2 years. Then also when a mother miscarries, even if she has a planned pregnancy that she's wanted and she miscarried, then we want to recommend that the mother waits for 6 months before she gets the next pregnancy. But the 2 years and the 6 months, you cannot deny them of their right to enjoy sexual intimacy. So we provide family planning or contraception for them, which we would like to see it as to enable them time the pregnancy, the next pregnancy, so that there's a healthy outcome for the mother and the unborn baby. So,
Nana Sansumensa reporting for JoyNews.
And still in Kumasi, independent commercial drivers in Kumasi are threatening a demonstration if city authorities fail to properly relocate them. The chairman of On-Street Drivers Association, Samuel Darkum, says members risk being thrown out of business if the situation persists. He told newsmen the lack of designated loading points is crippling their operations and is also dwindling patronage of their services. Live FM's Kwesi Debra now reports.
Lorry station master Peter Free has been lying in this seat for over 3 hours. He can't help it because there are no passengers to fill them. He is among many drivers who were forced out of the Konfonochi Teaching Hospital roundabout in Kumasi Zoo area. When the drivers get passengers, they give the station master. This is the case, they get nothing. The drivers were moved to race course 3 weeks ago as part of Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly's decongestion exercise. Passengers, however, find it difficult trekking to the new station to board vehicles to their destinations. The drivers, identified by the KMA as on street, are left virtually idle most of the time. They accuse their unionized counterparts of operating on the blind side of the decongestion task force. The zoo area may seem void of cars. However, a closer observation reveals drivers' mates calling potential passengers to board their vehicles parked at a distance. Asamoah applies Kijitia Santasa route. He will risk trying his luck within the restricted areas or go home with just few passengers after 4 hours of waiting. Only these passengers have gotten after several hours. I would have to go and park. I have wife and children. If the trend persists, the drivers fear they wouldn't have anything to live on. On-Street Drivers Association Chairman Samuel Dako says repeated plea to city authorities to intervene has yielded no positive results. It will be very hard for someone coming from the central market to board a car here. They should let some of us load from the streets. He says the option left to members is to hit the streets to register their displeasure. Mr. Dako gives no deadline but warns the KMA to act swiftly to avert street protest. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Away from the Ashanti region, the Commission of Inquiry for the creation of new regions on Thursday heard one of two petitions which could ultimately leave the Bonafo region being split into three. The people of Bono East, which is in the upper part of the region, want to be on their own, but so also do the Ahafo people who occupy the southern half of the Bonafo region. Joseph Akable, who was at the Osu Castle for the hearing, however, reports the commission could also reject both petitions and keep the region intact unless the arguments were very convincing.
The Bonafo region used to be part of the Ashanti region until 1959. But the two petitions currently before the commission could see it being split up into three. Chairman of the Commission of Inquiry, Justice Stephen Brobe, explains the nature of the requests.
This is the first time that provisions of Article 5 of the 1992 Constitution on the creation or alteration of a region have been invoked. There is therefore a duty on all of us to ensure that we chart a course that is ultimately in the best interest of our people. As I've already mentioned, we started on Tuesday, 21st November 2017 with the Western region and continued yesterday hearing petitions from Volta region. After today's hearing, we will continue on Tuesday, 28th of November by hearing petitioners demanding the creation of Bono East region out of the existing Brong-Ahafo region. That means the Brong-Ahafo now may have three regions: the current Brong region, then Bono East region, and the Ahafo region, if cases are made for their creation.
Like other petitioners, the Ahafo Council is confident the split holds the key to rapid development of the area. Nanan Sedu Jemfi is president of the Ahafo Traditional Council.
We want development, that is all: schools, universities, hospitals, roads, and then good drinking water. We are not getting them in our area, in the Ahafo area. That is why we want.
The commission will continue hearing from petitioners on November 28 when it engages chiefs from Bono East.
Chairman of Parliament Select Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs and also Member of Parliament for Ofinso South, Ben Abdullah Banda, has dismissed assertions that the inadequacies of the judiciary has a tendency of impeding the expeditious trial of corrupt cases by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. According to him, the Chief Justice is expected to designate special court for accelerated prosecution of accused persons being investigated by the office. His comment come on the back of series of concerns raised by sections of the public that the inefficiency of the court to try cases could frustrate the special prosecutor. He spoke with JoyNews' Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
Yes, the Chief Justice may decide to designate certain courts for prosecution of such cases.
Is that a possibility? Is that something we should look at?
Oh, the Chief Justice has the power to do that. You know, the Chief Justice, if we go to our court, has designated certain high courts to deal with. Some deal with land matters, criminal matters, financial matters, and so on and so on. So if we think or we believe that corruption and corruption-related matters are a serious problem that we need to deal with, and that the expeditious trial of accused persons is necessary, and it is in tandem with administration of justice. This is a matter between the executive and the judiciary.
But do you foresee it happening?
I believe this as what ought to be done, and I know it to be done.
But it's not captured in the provision?
No, as for the provision, we can't extend our jurisdiction.
But you could recommend
no, we can't recommend it in the law.
Effectiveness of the
we can't recommend it in the law. This is something that is done administratively. And the Chief Justice, day in, day out, does it. So we should leave it to the discretion of the Chief Justice. It is the Chief Justice, depending on the circumstances of the cases, that will be brought before the judiciary to say that I'm designating this court and this judge to deal with cases that will be emanating from the office of the special prosecutor. So we should leave it to the
So you
judiciary.
disagree with the assertion that the inadequacy of the judiciary would impede the works of the special prosecutor?
I don't think, you see, every ministry or every institution has a challenge. You can't have a perfect institution. I know the judiciary has challenges, and the same thing applies to any other institution. But that should not be a bar to the delivery of justice or to the speedy delivery of justice. The judiciary so far has done well, and they continue to do well, despite the fact that they have challenges or problems. And I think in spite of the problems and the challenges aforementioned, cases from the office of the special prosecutor, to the best of my knowledge, will be dealt with expeditiously as the nation requires of the judiciary.
And that's it for the news tidbit.